Okay, so I've pressed go live, so that is just loading. And then next I'm going to press record and then we'll be good to go.
You the boss.
And we are recording.
Okay, welcome to the May 19th, 2020 regular meeting of council held electronically via Zoom. Meeting called to order, and we'll have a moment of silence. Approval of the agenda, or if there are any changes.
I have a motion moved by Patrick Adams, seconded by Rick Owen.
I thought there was a withdrawal of the Salvation Army request.
Yeah, thank you, Your Worship. Staff can cover that at the adoption of the agenda, or staff can also do it and just receive the report at that time, Your Worship. But there's no need to waive any tipping fees. It would simply be a receive at that time if you'd just like to adopt the agenda as is.
Okay, approval of the agenda.
Okay, motion moved by Patrick Adams, seconded by Rick Owen. Be it resolved that the agenda for the regular meeting of council held on May 19th, 2020, beginning at 4:40 p.m. be approved as circulated to all members of council.
All in favor? Motion carried, unanimous. Is there any declaration of pecuniary interest? None declared. Petitions and delegations, none noted. Acceptance of minutes and recommendations.
Motion moved by Eugene Ivanoff, seconded by Casey Owens. Be it resolved that council accept the minutes of the following meetings: minutes of the regular meeting of council held May 5th, 2020, and minutes of the special meeting of council held May 12th, 2020.
All in favor? Motion carried, unanimous. Reports of municipal officers and communications. COVID-19 update. Richard McGee, CAO.
Thank you, Your Worship. As we move closer toward the reopening of the province of Ontario, again, not to sound like a broken record, but we must all exercise extreme vigilance when it comes to social distancing, follow the rules implemented by the province of Ontario and the medical officers of health, so that we do quash the spread of COVID-19. And we have 3 updates from Ms. Loach, Ms. Sackrider, and Mr. Gorman this evening, Your Worship, for council's review. Ms. Loach.
Thank you, Your Worship, through you to council. We had 1 pending resident swab, which was finally received in negative. So now I can officially say that all staff and residents were negative from our swabs that were done a few weeks ago. All precautions from Directive 3 remain in place. Really, nothing has changed for Tech Pioneer as we move forward. Families continue to window visit, have FaceTime, call, and Skype with their loved ones. And we once again allowed personal items to be dropped off at the main entrance between the hours of 8 to 3 p.m., Monday to Friday. All items must have the ability to be disinfected, therefore no plants or flowers. Thank you, Bonnie.
Thank you, Ms. Loach. Staff are now concentrating on getting ready for the reopening of the province. We are reviewing guiding principles and public health recommendations from the government to ensure we can gradually and safely reopen our buildings, services, and public spaces. As of tomorrow at 3 p.m., we will be reopening the off-leash dog park, Baird Park, Civic Park, and the bike park. For these areas, we remind residents that physical distancing is imperative. The province indicates that these areas can open for individual activities with physical distance of at least 2 meters from any other person, therefore not for team or contact sports. Auxiliary buildings will not be open at this time. Education Minister Lecce indicated he anticipates day camps will be open in July and August. Our staff will be reviewing protocols to determine our operations. Staff are putting into place the recommended steps to ensure physical distancing, good hygiene, and enhanced cleaning and disinfection for facilities. So when restrictions are lifted in stages 2 and 3, that municipal buildings are ready to reopen. As a reminder to all, as areas you frequent lessen their restrictions, continue to stay home and away from others when you are feeling ill, wash your hands frequently with soap and water or using an alcohol-based sanitizer. Keep a physical distance of 2 meters always when outside your house. Wear a face covering where physical distances is a challenge or not possible. And avoid touching your face and cover your face when coughing and sneezing. Thank you very much, and over to Mr. Gorman.
Thank you, Ms. Ackrider. Your worship, through you to council. There hasn't been a lot of changes on the administration front over the last several weeks. We have received updated correspondence from the Ministry of Long-Term Care, in which they've basically said that funds for the previously announced pandemic pay should be flowing as soon as possible. Internally, we've mapped out our payroll system coding, and we're beginning the process of assessing prior periods for purposes of a retro calculation. The letter did also confirm that statutory obligations will still apply to these amounts and that the incremental employer portion will be funded by the province. Thank you.
That completes the reports of municipal officers. We have a motion.
Motion moved by Stacy White, seconded by Dennis Perrier. Be it resolved that the verbal update titled COVID-19 update be received.
All in favor? Motion carried, unanimous. Item 6.2, temporary working from home policy. Ms. Cassandra Young, HR Supervisor. Welcome, Sandra.
Thank you, Your Worship. As per Council's request, a temporary work from home policy was drafted along with corresponding forms.
Is there more to come?
Just that the temporary work from home policy, like other than the policy and the forms, that would be it.
Councillors' comments? Councillor Adams? You're on mute.
Great job to staff on the development of that policy. Really well done and very thorough, especially the part on ergonomics. That's fantastic to give to the people working at home. Good job.
I agree. It was very well done. That's it. Thank you, Cassandra. We have a motion.
Motion moved by Casey Owens, seconded by Patrick Adams. Be it resolved that the policy titled temporary working from home be approved as presented.
All in favor? Motion carried. Unanimous. Transition date to the municipal blue box program. Ms. Ashley Bilodeau, Manager of Land Development and Planning.
Thank you, Your Worship. Through you to Council, we presented a report back in January of 2020 regarding the changes associated with the blue box program. As we mentioned at that date, there was the idea of transitioning to full producer responsibility. AMO, as we mentioned, wanted to know whether we would be, when would be the best time to transition. And we did say that we were going to bring a follow-up report back to Council prior to June. This is your updated report, and just to highlight some recommendations from staff in terms of when that proposed transition date should take place. So staff are recommending that it coincide with the contract. So that date would be September 2023. At that point, we basically have the option to stop picking up recycling or to continue to pick it up and get paid. At this point, we don't know how much the province is going to pay us to continue to pick up, but I can say with some certainty that most of the municipalities that are continuing do have assets of their own related to recycling. So they'll have a transfer station recycling trucks that makes it worthwhile for them to continue to pick up. We currently don't have any of those. Those are owned by the contractor. So at this point, we do recommend accepting no responsibility to provide collection and that the resolution be passed outlining September 2023 as the date to transition. As mentioned in the report, we also have an option here for council to consider for staff to bring back a report that details a cost benefit analysis once more information is received. Are there any questions?
This has been a long time in the making, coming from the provincial government, but finally we're getting to it. So I think it's going to improve the situation as long as we can at least break even on it would be my hope. I guess we'll have to wait and see what contribution the province is going to turn back to the municipalities. Any further comments from councillors? None noted. We have a motion.
Motion is moved by Dennis Perrier, seconded by Eugene Ivanoff. Be it resolved that report number 2020-Dev-018 entitled Transition Date Municipal Blue Box Program be received. That council hereby resolves to establish September 30th, 2023 as a transition date to full producer pay responsibility for the Municipal Blue Box Program. That the town of Kirkland Lake accepts no responsibility to provide collection services for the producers, and that staff be directed to forward a copy of the resolution to the Association of Municipalities of Ontario, AMO, and the Ministry of the Environment, Conservation and Parks, MECP.
Any further comments, concerns? All in favor? Motion carried, unanimous. Item 6.4, request to purchase 65 Government Road West. Continue, Ms. Bilodeau.
Thank you, Your Worship. Through you to council, we did receive a request to purchase 65 Government Road West, which is located downtown, for $4,000 from from Boudreaux Financial Group Incorporated. The property itself is currently used as garden space and has pictures and images along the fence. The intent of the purchaser is to maintain the property and keep it open to the public and also enhance curb appeal. At this point, the property is being used for snow storage during the winter months associated with sidewalk maintenance. However, this can be reestablished on another vacant lot downtown. So at this point, we're just requesting that council pass a bylaw to authorize us to proceed with the sale.
Any comments from council? It'll nice the fact that he's going to maintain it. It's a bit of a parquet at the front, and from curb appeal, it's certainly better to have it the way it is right now and to continue on that basis, because it does look neat and well kept, and it's a nice stopping point for our seniors. So, any further comments? None noted. We have a motion.
Motion moved by Rick Owen, seconded by Stacy White. Be it resolved that report number 2020-Dev-021 entitled Request to Purchase 65 Government Road West be received, and that staff present a bylaw to council to authorize the corporation of the town of Kirkland Lake to enter into an agreement of purchase and sale to sell 65 Government Road West to Boudreaux Financial Group Inc. for a sale price of $4,000.
All in favor? Motion carried, unanimous. Item 6.5. Richard McGee, do you care to comment?
Thank you, Worship. Through you to council, I believe Ms. Bilodeau has a very good news story to report, and I'll turn it over to Ms. Bilodeau.
Yes, thank you, Your Worship. Through you to council, by posting the agenda the way we did, the report actually ended up attracting some attention just to our local contractor. So GFL has actually gone ahead and spoken with Salvation Army and has made plans to have all of the clothing recycled at a different facility. So we no longer need to consider this report. Everything is considered dealt with, and it will be brought to a recycling facility and handled that way.
That's good news.
And perhaps, Your Worship, a motion to receive would be in order and nothing further.
Okay, just a comment. A reminder to the public, the Salvation Army, and it's not a landfill site. People still go there at night and drop off unwanted items that a lot of it could go to the landfill site. Matter of fact, in talking with the chaplain, 75% of what they receive there is non-reusable in their minds, especially dirty clothing and clothing without buttons and zippers and whatnot. And the Diabetes Association usually is takes receipt of the bulk of clothing that is not sold in the store, but they've shut down as well due to the opiate crisis. So there aren't any employees working for them, and they've stopped picking up temporarily until this is over. And same thing with staffing and volunteers at the Salvation Army. So just a reminder to the public, please observe the rules. They've been on radio, newspaper, social media. They do not want any items dropped off at this point. Go ahead with the motion.
Okay, thank you, Your Worship. Through you to council, I actually do need a mover and seconder for this one. It looks like this one was just missed. If I could have a mover and seconder. So Rick Owen and Dennis Perrier. So moved by Rick Owen, seconded by Dennis Perrier. Be it resolved that report number 2020-Dev-022 entitled Salvation Army Request to Waive Tipping Fees be received.
All in favor? Motion carried. Council strategic plan, Ms. Bilodeau.
Yes, thank you, Your Worship. Through you to council, back in 2019, council initiated the process to develop a strategic plan and an organizational review. This is what the contract was established with Strategy Core to complete this task. Unfortunately, no formal document was ever finalized. So at that point, staff was directed to continue with the development of a strategic plan and bring a draft to council for consideration once it was complete. So at this point, we do have a draft strategic plan to present to council. It is attached to this report. We are recommending that council have some time to review it. So perhaps we bring it back to the June 2nd meeting and have a better discussion then. One thing I did want to highlight is that this is a result of a year-long collaborative process, and it does develop a collective vision and strategic direction for the municipality over the next 4 years. I did want to highlight within the actual document that there is the mission at this point is currently highlighted in yellow. The vision and mission are both highlighted in yellow. These were examples of potential visions and missions that were proposed in various documents. And we'll be looking for council to decide on what that vision and mission look like and best represent what it is that you're planning on accomplishing within those 4 years. So I just wanted to put that there. I'm free to address any questions right now, but for the most part, I think the conversation will happen at the June 2nd meeting if council is okay with that.
Councillors' comments. Ms. Bilodeau, can I mention, can each councillor get an enlarged copy of that strategic review?
Yes, certainly.
Plan, and preferably the colored one too, because it's more in depth and much easier to read. And my only other comment was, after going through this, there has been a lot of hard work and collaboration in putting this together. And it'll give the opportunity over the next week or two for council to digest the plan itself. But it certainly, we appreciate the amount of effort that has been put into it, because I don't recall ever being on council in the previous term getting a strategic plan such as this. So thank you to you and the staff for putting this together. Any other comments? We have a motion to accept the report.
Yes, we do. And thank you, Your Worship, through you to council as well. I believe majority of councillors have picked up their printed copies, but if there's anyone else that requires one, please email me and I'll print one off for you.
Okay, thank you.
Motion moved by Patrick Adams, seconded by Stacey White. Be it resolved that report number 2020-dev-020 entitled Council Strategic Plan TKL 2020 to 2024 be received, and that the report be referred to the June 2nd, 2020 regular meeting of council to allow council adequate time to review and consider the adoption of the strategic plan.
All in favor? Motion carried, unanimous. Item 6.7, awarding of the RFP for the service delivery review. Clerk, Ms. Elliott.
Thank you, Your Worship. Through you to council. Staff prepared and released a request for proposal to conduct a service delivery review that closed on April 23rd, 2020. We received 9 submissions that were in accordance with the published instructions. Staff reviewed and evaluated all submissions, and we are proposing to move forward with WSCS Consulting, Inc.
Comments from council? Councillor Adams.
Yes, it's just on the one of the $117,000. So that staff is hereby authorized to approve additional work as part of the service delivery review to specifically identify cost savings. Can I just a further explanation on that is all that's requested?
Yeah, perhaps I can jump in and help out here, Your Worship. So the submission price was lower than the grant that was received from the provincial government. And we want to maximize those funds received from the provincial government under the modernization funding of $117,000. So what we will do is we will be modifying and increasing the scope of the project to match that $117,000 price fee. If you look in the body of the report, some of the features that are value added components are Lean Six Sigma training. So we'll be looking at those costs associated with training management staff, as well as future leaders in the organization to be Lean Six Sigma qualified, whether it's in Greenbelt or what level of proficiency. And we just want to maximize those monies from the province, because if we don't, they'll want them sent back to them.
Councillor Owens.
Is this the only place that $117,000 can be spent, or could we use that in some other area?
Through you, Your Worship, to council, we could use it for modernization monies, but we have identified to the province the areas that they would be spent, and we believe that we can utilize those funds quite well with the successful bidder to accentuate the efficiencies and the process improvements as contained within the report before you, and also within the closed session report with respect to training, education, personal development, and restructuring of or the organizational structure of the municipality.
Councillor Owens.
Yeah, through you, Your Worship, to the CAO, what other areas could we possibly spend that $117,000?
Potentially process improvement areas such as software programs, any type of modernization component that would put the municipality in a position to be more efficient in the future from a cost savings perspective. But we really see the opportunity with the award of this contract to provide very tangible deliverables where council will be able to look at outcomes that save money going forward into the future.
Any other comments? Certainly by the credentials that these people have working for them in leadership, they get more degrees in the thermometer. That doesn't mean they're going to deliver, but their presentation was very, very professional. So if that's any indication, I think we're making, at least feel we're heading in the right direction. Any further comments? Councillor Owens.
Yeah, I'm still struggling with this $117,000. I don't really care whether it comes, I mean, it ultimately comes from taxpayers, whether it comes from the province or whether it comes from the ratepayers locally. That's an awful lot of money to just to arbitrarily say, well, you can basically spend it where you want. I don't feel really comfortable with that. I'm not comfortable with just saying, well, we had this much money, so we got to spend it. It doesn't make sense. I think I'd like to know exactly how and where it's going to be spent and how much it's going to cost before I can vote in favor of allowing $117,000. That's a lot of money just to say, okay, yeah, you got some ideas where you want to spend it. We give you permission to go ahead and spend it. I'm just not comfortable.
Any other concerns or comments? To the CAO, do you wish to make any other comments on Mr. Owens's, Councillor Owens' comments?
Thank you, Worship, through you to council. I understand the concern, but I think the report is well structured and the scope of work to be completed if council looks at all of the reports combined together into one. The efficiencies work that is required to be completed in Kirkland Lake is extensive. And if anything, we could probably use more money with this group to start reviewing and analyzing some of the work processes to find more efficiencies. Just looking at some of the agreements that are in place and some of the accepted practices in the past, they really need to be reviewed, and we need to take a sober second look at absolutely every way we do business to ensure we're spending all of the taxpayers' money in the most efficient manner we possibly can. So yeah, I think we're talking a difference of approximately $30,000 between the award price that's presented and the total project cost that will get eaten up very quickly with additional training and projects that we're going to be requesting this contractor to perform on council's behalf. So I think it's reasonable given the recommendation before you.
I do like the fact that there would be funds available to basically from our staffing, senior management positions to train the trainer and for future training programs that we put in place, that we do have a qualified person in place. So I don't think we're going to waste this money away. And I know that's a concern. That's not what we as councillors are here for, whether it's coming from the province or the federal government, but I'm comfortable that we will use it in a reasonable fashion to get the best bang for our dollar out of this report. Any other comments? We have a motion.
Motion moved by Eugene Ivanoff, seconded by Dennis Perrier. Be it resolved that report number 2020-CLK-001 entitled Award of RFP 55520 Service Delivery Review be received. That council hereby awards the contract to complete a service delivery review for the town of Kirkland Lake to WSCS Consulting, Inc. in the amount of $92,998 plus HST. That staff is hereby authorized to approve additional work as part of the service delivery review to specifically identify cost savings and operational process improvements to a maximum project cost of $117,000, including HST. That the required monies in the amount of $117,000, including HST, be allocated from the Municipal Modernization Grant Fund, and that staff be directed to present a bylaw to authorize the execution of an agreement with WSCS Consulting, Inc. to conduct a service delivery review for the corporation of the town of Kirkland Lake.
Any other comments, concerns? All in favor? Motion carried, unanimous. Consideration of notices of motion. Councillor White, you did have a motion. Could you read that, please?
Yeah, just give me 2 seconds to get there. Sorry.
No problem.
And your worship, I apologize if I may step in. Considerations of notice of motions would be if there was one previously, but we'll get down to Stacy's at number 10 for notice of.
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't pick up on that. Sorry,
That's okay.
Councillor White. Consideration of notice of motion, none noted. Introduction, reading, and consideration of bylaws. We have a motion.
I have a motion moved by Rick Owen, seconded by Patrick Adams. Be it resolved that the following bylaw be read a first, second, and third time, numbered, passed, signed by the mayor and the clerk, and the seal of the corporation be affixed thereto. Bylaw number 20-046 being a bylaw to authorize the mayor and clerk to execute a maintenance dig agreement with Enbridge Gas, Inc.
Any comments, concerns? All in favor? Motion carried, unanimous.
Motion moved by Casey Owen, seconded by Eugene Ivanoff. Be it resolved that the following bylaw be read a first, second, and third time, numbered, passed, signed by the mayor and clerk, and the seal of the corporation be affixed thereto. Bylaw number 20-047 being a bylaw to authorize the mayor and clerk to execute documents related to the sale of a property located at 65 Government Road West to Boudreaux Financial Group, Inc.
All in favor? Motion carried, unanimous. Questions from council to staff, none noted. Now we'll go to notice of motion, item 10.1, Councillor Stacy White.
Yes. So be it resolved, staff be directed to bring forth a formalized protocol procedure for dump employees to follow, including a system to ensure proper collection of information required at the gate.
Any discussion? None noted. So this will come back at our next council meeting in 2 weeks' time. Okay. Councilors' reports, anything noted? None noted. Motion to move into a closed session.
I have a motion moved by Dennis Perrier, seconded by Stacy White. Be it resolved that council move into an in-camera meeting pursuant to section 239(2) to discuss 1 labor relation item, 2 proposed land disposition items, and 1 matter about identifiable individuals.
All in favor? Motion carried, unanimous.
Okay. Thank you, your worship. I am just going to press pause